Good morning. Saturday, 11 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. And see, I said Saturday. Oh, December 7th, 2024, Pearl Harbor Day. So, sentiments for Pearl Harbor Day. All right, let's see if I get a unmute that. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, it's not coming through here because I didn't turn my headset on. Duh. Tells me battery high. And let's try that sound check again. And nope, hasn't come through yet. It takes a couple minutes before it comes through the headset. I have content today, but first priority is if anybody's got Windows technical issues with your computers, either that you're in trouble that you're having with your computer or somebody's computer that you're helping with, and or the stories of your solution. If you recently solved something, those subjects take higher priority. I'm going to try this again and see if I can get a confirmation in my headset. Yes, that gave me a headset, so then I'll mute that. I think when I'm getting a confirmation in my headset, you don't hear that, but when it comes on my speakers, you do hear that. I'm kind of stumbling over my words there. You might not have noticed. I kind of stumbled the word over. Chris Garrett says he was first. As far as I know, he was. Jeff Ryman, good morning from sensational Sin City, Las Vegas. John Williams says, very nice trailer. That was me playing Beat Saber to a Lady Gaga Just Dance. And I don't have a link in the description. Maybe I should go do that. Another foggy morning in Central Valley. Yes, and I drove in the fog this morning, the most severe fog that I've driven in for a long time. Still nowhere near what I experienced in my 20s here in Fresno, but it did slow me down in driving more cautiously. That was about 7:30 this morning, I think, maybe 7. Selden Ball, hello. Latest invasion. Oh, froggy morning. You know what? I think he always says froggy, and I just don't notice it until Selden Ball points that out. Zavi Minor, hello. New day, new show. Man, I remember times in the past where you look out the car window to see the dashed lines to try to keep your car in a lane. That was some serious. Called it Thule fog. T-U-H-L-E, I think is the way to spell that. Alice Jones, hello. Ran Israel, hello. Brian Lightfoot, Doug Stumper, and Doug only, meaning nobody else. Reply to this in chat until Doug takes a stab at it. This sentence contains exactly 3 errors. What are they? All right. Well, the word 3 and the word errors are spelled wrong. That's 2 errors. Exactly 3 errors. There's got to be some trick of wording there. This sentence contains exactly 3 errors. That is a single sentence. Contains exactly 3 errors. The missing R, the extra E, so that's 2. You might have me on this. Doug Stumper and Doug only. See, this is a different sentence. This is a different sentence. This sentence contains exactly 3 errors. There's a missing R. There's an extra 3. Exactly. Yeah, that's spelled right, isn't it? I think you got me. I think you stumped me, Brian. He was waiting for me to say that. Error 1. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it said 3. Yes, that's not 3. That's it right there. Yeah. I think I think this probably gave me enough of a hint. The error 1 is the extra E. Error 2 is a missing R. Error 3, there are only 2 errors, not 3. That's good. That's good. I like that. Well done, Brian. Live commentary mode. Well, let's go fix that. Come over here so anybody can chat after I make this change. Anyone. So if you're there in the chat room and thought that you could not chat, well, now you can. Nobody has come up with a question or a story to tell. So let me go right into my few stories. I have told you before that every other week I go to the Law 40 office and swap out the external backup drives. Now, keep in mind, that's not the only backup. We do cloud backup. We swap the external backup drives. Hello, Sturmy. How you doing? This morning, when I went there, one of the SAS drives, I swap out the SAS drives as well. There's 2 servers. The SAS drives, there's 2 RAID configurations on each computer. The first RAID configuration is for the boot drive. The second RAID configuration is for the data drive. And I swapped the drives for the boot drive, not for the data drive, because that's we're doing backups on those. But the boot drives don't change very often. So swapping them every 2 weeks, and there is Princess. Hi, Princess. And so swapping them out every 2 weeks is sufficient. That gives me effectively an offsite backup of the user configurations, the security configurations, basically the Windows Server configurations. Well, this morning, this one was, I went to put this one in, take out the one that was in there and put this one in, and it failed right away. So it means it went bad on the shelf here. Each of these servers have 4 drives that rotate. So these are mirrored drives. So on today, I was swapping bay 1. So take out bay 1, the drive that's in bay 1, put the replacement drive in, and then it refreshes the mirror. And then the next 2-week increment, I'll swap out the drive in bay 0. So there's 2 drives in the server, and there's always 2 drives here for each server. So they rotate that way. But today when I put this one in, it failed. So I have plenty of drives in resource, but I'll go ahead and order replacements for that. Now I have a video of that, the way that looked. I don't have that completely set up yet. And it won't take long to get to it. Bringing up my Apple iCloud that should have automatically uploaded from my phone. And yes, indeed it did. And let's see, let's bring this one up. Let's see what's going on here. So this is, and it's this model server. This is a spare that I have here at my home. Let's make this full screen. And then bring it up over here. Turn that off. So it was in bay 1. The amber light is normal and acceptable. The amber light happens when it has a drive that does not have the original Dell encoding on it, because it was a replacement drive. Yeah, but it's completely functional. So here I'm going to press play. And that's the way that it was looking after it had failed. Now let me get Now, I just said that that was normal. Yeah, well, a green light and a blinking orange is normal. Let's go back and see if I can show that again, if I'm saying that right. This one up on top, you see an occasional amber blink. That's what's indicating that it's not recognized by the computer as original Dell equipment, although it is a Dell drive. And when I looked up the information on it, it's a known issue that even replacement Dell original equipment shows that way. And it's not of concern. Now, here's another video, and I think in this one, what I did is I inserted the drive and then started recording so that you could see the time that it takes before it goes bad, before it recognizes it as bad. So here I'm clicking play. So I think it's the one in drive bay 1, if I'm remembering my recordings correctly. It's trying to refresh, resynchronize. I'm not using the right word, what they use. And then over here, that screen blue means everything's okay so far. Still hasn't got to the point where it failed. I hope I'm remembering this video correctly. Yeah, there it goes. There, now it's recognized as failed. And then over on the status screen, we'll see that change to orange, fault detected. So that's what alerted me that, whoops, we got a drive that's gone bad. They've gone bad before. They're very inexpensive to replace because these are older equipment. Boy, I don't think I've heard anything from, I haven't heard anything from SpeakerBot. I know that some StreamerBot things have worked. So I'll go test it myself. Yeah, that worked. Although I didn't have my, nope, you didn't hear that. You didn't hear that, and here's how I know that. I'm going to try to show that to you down here in SpeakerBot. I didn't have this scroll to the place where I could see the graphics show up, but when I go to properties here, I see that this is red, which indicates that the connection to SpeakerBot resource is not valid. See this one grayed out, but here it is down here, and I have to reselect it, and now that'll work. So now that I know that there may have been some SpeakerBots from you that I have not heard, I will go back and look for those.
Yes, affirmative.
All right, now you should have heard that. Rebuild. You're right. Thank you, Selden. That's exactly the right word, is rebuild. It's rebuilding the the mirror, the RAID 1 mirror. Yeah, I don't see any exclamation mark C's. We had a Stormy and we had a Tiger. Yeah, that's the right word. Hello, sorry, I forgot that 5 p.m. is 7 p.m. Okay, I think that has to do with his time zone and when my show starts. Warming trend in Madison. Z, I don't understand why you're swapping disks in RAID 1 system and not relying on a backup. Let's say your computer breaks down and you don't have a compatible computer. Well, I have 2 extra compatible computers here. When we bought the 2 computers that are in service, we actually bought 4 computers. So we have spares. And if the, like if there were a ransomware incident or something that damaged both of the current drives in there, I could take the drive that I have here and put it in and boot the server on that. To do a backup image, I'm going to have to put in a good drive and restore it. It's going to take longer to do. You'll have a hard time getting the system running since the RAID is created from a hardware card. I've done it before. It's not a big deal. It's you can import, when you put in a RAID drive and you don't have any other drives in there, it recognizes that it calls it a foreign image, and you can import the foreign image. It's pretty quick and easy to do. I've done it before. The drive that failed, let's see, Zavi's got some other. Read the follow also. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I've done it. Not a big deal. Drive that failed, is it possible we can look into what might have failed, either mechanically or possibly a data problem? Maybe check smart. I'm not really interested in doing that. It's a SAS drive, so the only way that I could access it is to fire up this machine. I just don't have any interest in doing that. Let me show you how inexpensive those are. It's like, once we find out why it failed, what do we do then? We're trying to salvage the value of that drive. And because a lot of these computers were returned from lease
chat, please.
back in that generation, there's a lot of those drives available. Here you go, $55 to replace one of these. I'm not going to spend any time trying to figure out why it failed. In the same hardware controller. In the same hardware controller. I'm not quite sure I'm with you on that, and you probably have more experience in this arena than I do, Zavi. But one way that I could prove that is to fire up one of these computers, put in one of these drives that are good, and see if I can show that, yes, I can do that even in a different computer, but they're the same model. Yeah, I would be curious too, but I'm not, there's too many things that I'm curious about that I just can't take time to chase them all down. All right, now I brought this computer up onto the desk because I thought, because of this failure today, it's worth following up on a conversation that we had earlier. I've told you before about these servers that about four of them used, when we bought them. And at the time, I had discussed with my client that if we buy new computers, then we have the Dell warranty, but that if we need to replace any parts, if we have parts go bad, then that means ordering them and getting them in. If we go on the inexpensive side and get these used servers, then we would have to, I insist that we buy extra servers so that we can have the parts to swap them out quickly. It was the client's decision which way to go, and I really didn't care. And then now we're going to be faced with another upgrade because these servers that are still in place, I've been telling them for years that they're out of date. They could become a problem if they need to make a claim on their cybersecurity insurance. The insurance could deny it based upon these servers no longer being under support with Microsoft. They have decided repeatedly for now to stay with these. And I have that documented in my invoices. So my back is covered. Now, Zavi's comment, they are the same model with the same RAID controller. Yes, they are. So I think they would be fine with this. And that is the explanation that maybe didn't make sense to you, that this is a viable thing to do. Now, I also do cloud image backups of the boot drives. Well, on one of the servers, not the other one. And they are fairly simple to recreate anyway, because this office doesn't have very complex security at all. But the image backup to the cloud, that takes longer to restore because it just takes longer to get that image from the cloud and restore it onto a drive. So multiple options, multiple options to recover. Now, getting back to here. I had discussed in a previous show with you that I made a proposal to the client for replacing all their workstations and their servers and implement, what is going on? I'm hearing that video playing. I'm hearing it in my ear. I don't know if you're hearing it. Where is that? I don't have video player open anywhere. Premiere? No, Premiere's not open. What am I hearing? Oh, yeah, I do. It was because that was in here. That wasn't a separate video player. It's on a browser tab.
No way.
Yeah, Selden tells me they were not hearing that audio. I think it's because I had the browser audio turned off in OBS, but I was hearing it. So anyway, I thought this office was at a point where they'd be ready to implement, full security policies and completely compliant with auditable policies. But then I explained to you that they had transitioned, the two junior partners had bought out the entire company from the three founding partners, and are essentially buying them out, and the founding partners still work there as employees. So the two junior partners that are buying the company are now on a very, very tight margins, because they have to make pretty hefty payments to the senior partners. I deduce, I assume. I don't know the details of it, but they definitely did say, no, we can't afford to do that. So we don't actually have any server-based applications that require a Windows server. We used to. In fact, we used to need two servers running, but over time things have evolved. We really don't need two servers anymore. We can combine the function into one, and it doesn't need to be a server. So we discussed during the show of transitioning these servers to become a NAS or a Linux servers and just serve files, because that's really all I need to do. Then down the road, if we decide that we need to implement full Active Directory and domain server and security policies and require password changes and all that 9 yards, then we can get a server just for that purpose, and it doesn't have to provide all of the file services. We could still use these for the file sharing services, and the new server of a lower capability, all it would be doing is Active Directory, domain server. We don't even have to have it doing DHCP. So yeah, that could be a step down the road, and it would be easier to transition them to the full security implementation by having the file services run from here, because we can spin up the new server, configure all the security stuff, and then put one of their workstations on it or a couple workstations on it and test those operations for a while before having to switch all the computers over to it. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with Linux. I'm not afraid of it. I don't have a lot of experience with NAS. I'm not afraid of it. Just haven't had need to implement either of those. I will be interested in your input for what products to use for that, and we'll probably do some testing and trial operations of that during my shows. Let's see. Zavi says it's not advisable to use these systems with a spare disk that automatically comes into operation on a damaged disk. I'm trying to absorb that.
Read chat, please.
true NAS, Linux-based software, NAS with GUI. Sounds good. Let's do, I'm going to Control-C that. Take this off screen while I switch to a place where I want to take note of that. So I can hold on to that. Option, and paste it over there. And do that and that. So I will grab any other suggestions and recommendations you have and hold on to them. It says, sorry, BSD based, not Linux. Never mind, it has a GUI. Because we like ooey gooey things, right? Technicians like ooey gooey. Chewy. It is not advisable to use these systems with a spare disk that it is not, oh, it's a question. It is not advisable, sounds like a statement. Is it not, I think he's asking a question, is it not advisable to use these systems with spare disk that automatically comes into operation on a damaged disk? We do have that for the data drive. We do not have that for the boot drive. And now that you point that out, I'm questioning myself as to why not? Why not? I think maybe I didn't even contemplate doing that. Yeah, the data drive is also RAID 1 mirrored, and there is a hot spare for that it'll automatically come into play if either of the mirror drives for the data drive has a problem. I'm kind of blown away that I've never even thought about that. Now, something I have looked at in the past, I wanted to switch the data drive to be RAID 5. It's RAID 1. Came as RAID 1.
Yes, affirmative.
Yes, why not? I may wind up doing that. I don't know at the moment. You just brought the idea to my mind. But I found out I could not. Now, I'm trying to remember back when I was doing that, I wanted to make a change to the RAID, but it wouldn't let me do it. Either was I wanted to add a third RAID configuration, or I wanted to switch the data RAID to a RAID 5, and that RAID controller card would not let me do it. All of the RAID configurations had to be the same RAID level, or it was, I don't quite remember what I was trying to do, but I was trying to make some change, and this RAID controller would not let me do that. And the other thing I've told you about before is that the RAID controller has an option to set the alarm so that an alarm will ring audibly if one of the drives goes bad, and I could not get that to work. I had discovered one day that there was a bad drive there and there was no alarm, so I went investigating that. And what I found out is that the capability was built into the menuing system, but this particular version of the RAID controller does not have a speaker on it, so it can't produce a sound. Okay, so we got that. Why would law firm's file server not be required to be part of the increased security?
Read chat, please.
Most controllers won't let you convert one RAID array to another type. You have to back up the data, break the array, create a new one, restore the data. Yeah, I would have expected that, but yeah, I can't say quite what it was. Maybe I just didn't go about it right, and I'm not sure that I was trying to change something about it. I think it was because we were running out of space on the data. Yeah, that must have been it. We were running out of space on the data drives. And I actually thought that was a RAID 5 when we first bought these. But I found I could not add a drive. And then I realized, oh, it's RAID 1. It's a mirrored. You can't just add a drive to add capacity.
Read chat, please.
Jim, KJ3N, use X Sigma NAS. Okay, I'll capture that. Let's see, I should catch that, including that. Who is giving me that suggestion? I think I'm going to go back and catch what I think I may have missed. Let me take these in order. Let's see, I did respond to that. Is it not advisable? Yeah, I did respond to that. Why would the law firm's file server not be required to be part of the increased security? The law firms that I work with so far have not had any communication of requirement in their industry to have increased security. The Law 40 office, that's my nickname between you and I. They don't know I use that nickname for them. Law tells you it's a law office. 40, because there's about 40 workstations in the office, and there's other computers in home offices and laptops and such. So I refer to them so that you recognize them when I talk about them as Law 40. They do have cybersecurity insurance. And each time we have to fill out those cybersecurity insurance forms, they become more particular about what they want to have accomplished. In the most recent rendition, they wanted that all of the credentials have two-factor authentication required. So we turned that on for all of them. But they have not got to the point where they require security policies, published security policies, and annual audits or penetration testing. Now, the financial services office that I've talked to you about, we have them fully up on fully secure environment, Active Directory, secure published security policies. We haven't actually started a third-party audit, neutral party audit, or penetration testing, but that happened because the owner of that business, rumors came through the industry that, well, I don't think it's rumors. There was actually proposed legislation that would require companies of his size to have full security implementations. Now, I'm not giving exact, precise quotes of this. I don't know if it's a company's his size, meaning larger companies were already required, or if it's the entire industry. But the law firms, they have not been required to implement the extra security, which is a little bit baffling. It seems to me that they should. We did that. Jim has NAS experience. I am aware of that. Yes, I think I would probably test this on these spare servers here. Jim, I'm late. Just got see my name taken in vain as I engage DVR mode. Yeah, if he's doing DVR mode, he'll catch up on that. Yeah, I know that you can't just add drives and convert to different RAID configurations. I don't remember. That was years ago that I was trying to do something and I got to the point just wouldn't let me do it. It could be that there's a different way around it that I could have done it, but easiest solution like Synology, rolling your own is more complicated. So I don't know if Jim's got to the point where I'm talking about doing it on these old servers. So I don't know if, I don't even know it well enough to know if Synology is a operating system that you can install on any
Read
hardware.
chat, please.
Free NAS from Zavi. Martin Hogg wants me to read chat. I'm going to need on the catch up on the conversation. Is that what you're wanting me to read, Martin? I don't know what you're wanting me to read, Martin. Yeah, this isn't a conversation that's going to be over with today. This conversation will come back occasionally. I'll copy that one over. And there is no fire under my butt about it. I'm going to say, let's see, at Jim. No hurry. Yeah, I thought Synology was an actual hardware. So that doesn't give us the capability of getting more use out of these boxes. But I think Synology is, I don't know. I don't mind buying new hardware. We kind of would like to use the racks because we've got a rack mounted UPS and, the monitor, keyboard, mouse all set up there and a KVM switch. But we would still need the KVM switch if we're going to have a separate server. So anyway, there's plenty of time for us to deal with that. Now, I didn't need to bring this up here to open that discussion with you, but I thought you might just be interested in seeing this again. Let's see, how do I do that better? All right, let's see if that gives you a better view. Yeah, do that about. How does that look? Yeah, so the drives go in these bays, and show you how that works right here. When we bought these 4 servers, there were the 2 drives for the boot drive, and then there were 3 drives for the data. And I don't remember if there are extra drives here or not, but the 2 servers, the 2 spare servers that are here, we've used up all of the drives that were in them. They've all gone into circulation, and I've purchased additional drives since then as well. There's that status light, power button, a couple of USB ports, a VGA port on the front, and a DVD drive. On the back, these are hot swappable power supplies, and I've had to replace a couple of these. There's the connectors on the back and a fan. So there's a light down here when one of these goes bad. That lights up and it's no longer providing power, so I can pull it out while the server is up and running and replace the power supply. There's room for a couple of expansion cards. There's 4 Ethernet ports, and these might be, I think these are 100 megabits per second. A couple USB ports, the VGA, a serial port, and then this lifts up here, cover comes off, and there's labels on the cover that give a lot of instructions. And then inside the computer, we've got SAS RAID controller card there. We've got a riser to be able to plug in other expansion cards. And they would come out the back here. This shield covers the RAM. Yeah, we've got 5 memory boards in here. There is a note on the cover. You might have seen it. That is a note that I took one of these out to replace a defective one in one of the servers that's in service. Oh, there's some labeling on here that shows the bank and RAM numbers on that clear plastic. So when this is in place, you can tell which slots are occupied because you can see it through that clear plastic. Come back to this side. There you can see fans. The CPUs are in here. There's 2 CPUs. These fans are replaceable. They just plug in with that connector right there. So that just gives a little peek at what it's like to work on one of these. There it is. No, that's still not right. What did I do wrong? I put this on backwards, didn't I? Because I keep turning the thing around. Here's a label with some identity information. Serial number FTV 6WL1, if anyone is interested in looking up information about it. Not that that's of any real significance or concern. It's an old computer. Starting to catch up. If you want to reuse an old server, then you could look at something called Unraid, Zigmanas, or 1 or 2 others. TrueNAS has a steep learning curve. Not interested in a steep learning curve for simple file sharing. When you do the maintenance on the servers in the actual office, I'm curious how much dust you see in the fans and the machine in general. Well, I think you can see that on that video that I played a little while ago. Let's see, check this out again. You can see dust over here on those in the intake vents. Yeah. I do occasionally open them up and vacuum them usually vacuum them rather than blow them because it's kind of cumbersome to take them out of the rack. I guess on the subject of the rack, there's some more I can show you about this. These bolts right here insert into the rack. Put the back side in first and push it into the rack. And then on the front, let's see where I can show that. There's a latch here that is used to hold it in place. So to take it out, all you do is you press the latch and pull the machine forward. Of course, you have to deal with whatever cables are involved first. Yes, John Downey, this is one of the spare computers. There's 2 of them in service at the client's office, and I have 2 spares here. Yeah, is it? He's saying TrueNAS has a steep learning curve. So this is the V giving me a link for TrueNAS. I'll take a copy of that. I'm not going to be pursuing that anytime soon, so don't hold your breath to hear back from me on this. It was only a convenient time today to talk about it because of that one drive going bad. And John, you'll just have to go back and watch the prior video. I'm not going to repeat that part. So answered that. Using Synology, QNAP, TrueNAS, hardware, and not only hardware, they include the operating system. Also, the advantage is you can get help from them. I'm going to grab that comment too. Because just because it's possible to get more life out of these computers by putting a NAS software on them or a Linux and doing file sharing from them, that doesn't mean that I should. It's just, at the moment, it's on the table. Do the backup disks get taken off-site with a copy on-site for disaster preparedness? Yes. I mentioned that earlier, that when I discovered this bad drive when I went in this morning to swap the external drives. And let's see, if I turn my camera over a little bit that way, yeah, that's where I store them, right there. The silver drives are for the secondary server. The 3 black external drives there are for the primary server, and then the SAS drives are stacked on top of them. And there's also cloud backup for each of the servers. That happens every night. Now, the cloud backup is not adequate for offsite storage, because restoring from a cloud backup is kind of slow. So it's just a cloud backup so that we have a cloud backup in case things go really bad. So that answers that. Then there is HexOS, which is a variant of FreeNAS. Now, this kind of brings us up to one of the things that I'm copying that, holding on to it. One of the reasons why I'm not very enthusiastic going down this road, because there are so many possible ways to do it. And it just sounds like one of those things in life where you start going down one direction because you thought that would be a good way to do it, and then you realize you bump up against something and you're saying, oh, I wish I'd have done that the other way. So then do you go back and do it the other way or not? So I have a little advantage in my pocket now that I didn't have 4 years ago, and that's you guys. Because you have been down some other roads that I have not been down. So I'm very interested in your input. We can discuss on Zoom after the show. I have other things I need to deal with, but I'd like to hold that off for a future discussion. This is not something I need to pursue now. So thank you for that offer. And I think I will probably take you up on that at a future date. But this is not a pending need that I need to answer. QNAP security issues. All right. What about the packages? Doug, you got packages on your desk. Is that something you're going to show us? Then I have already blacked out my address for those of you who are getting nervous about it. This one I'm not going to unbox here because it's not computer stuff. This is something ordered for my grandson that he wanted. And so we ordered that as part of his Christmas. But I just hadn't seen this before. Magnetized material do not ship by air. What this is magnets. But it just surprised me that I guess it's saying these magnets are so powerful that it would be an issue to airplanes. There's just something about not being able to ship magnets by air I did not know about. This is what it is. 40 by 40, 20, super strong neodymium. I don't know much about magnets. They pick up metal stuff. It's all I know or care about. But I thought it was surprising that it was labeled like that. So I'll copy a link for that and put it into chat just in case anyone's interested. He was using some magnets that I have around here to try to pick up lead out of my dirt in the backyard. And there was no lead that came on the magnets. I don't know how much lead is in dirt. And then this one is actually a computer. This computer I bought for my own self for workbench purposes. I've talked to you a few times about wanting to figure out a way to compare the actual performance of these low-end computers for what end users actually use them for, because these N100, N95 computers have been doing just fine for end users, even to the extent that when I swapped a i5 mini computer with an N100 mini computer, the user told me that he could not tell any difference at all and would not have known that I switched him from the i5 to the N100 unless I had told him. It was just that identical. So this one is a B-Link. It's just another model of B-Link, and it was on a good sale price. I'm not going to bother unboxing it now because you'll be seeing this in the future, but I'm going to show you what it was. I have an idea in mind of how I want to do a bench testing that actually resembles what end users in offices actually do with computers. And I think I should be able to show the differences. This one is a i3, 10 cores, 12 threads, up to 4.4 gigahertz, and I would be comparing that against, let me bring up one of these others. I had been trying to figure out how I could do these comparisons actually in the offices where they're being used, and there were just some complications to that. So here's, well, that one won't come up right now. Yeah, I'm getting sorry, couldn't find that page. When I click on the ones that I actually ordered, I guess I can show this. These ones that I've actually ordered. This is the one that I just ordered. I think that one comes up. Yeah, that comes up fine. If I go back and go on to one of the prior, the B-Link S12, I think they have possibly replaced that model. Let's go search B-Link S12. Yeah, see, it comes up with this EQIs. That's i3. I'm just scanning, looking for, there's an N100 at $159 S12. Yeah, so this is the model that I have in service at a handful of offices, and some of them up to, I think, 4, maybe 5 computers in one office. 4 cores and 4 threads, up to 3.4 gigahertz. So these are like really underpowered computers, and by comparison to what any computer enthusiast or home user would want to have. But they work well for what most of my end users are using their computers for. And for the offices who are budget concerned, I've discussed with them that we can test these, see how it goes. I don't know how it'll go, but you've got to replace all the computers in your office, and during this next year, almost all. So if you want to try this, we can try it. And there are a few offices doing that experiment with me. Let's see, there's a pest control company, the HUD subsidized housing facilities. So there's 3 of them, or 4 of them actually. I'll count them as one. There's a Law 40 office. There's a Law 2 office. Well, actually, no, that's not fair because I put higher computers there. There are many computers, but they aren't the N100s. There's a real estate management office with only 1 computer. I think I'm missing 1 or 2. So that's where it was, 10 minutes behind. Acme Magnet. Lead does not react to magnets. Yeah, I suppose I think that sounds familiar. Take soil and soil samples. Lead, really? Won't stick to magnets. I think he said it was lead he was looking for. Due to generational difference, N100 might be the equivalent of very old i5. Yes, that is, and that is exactly the point why I think it is legitimate to try these. The computers that these are replacing are older i5s, i7s, maybe some i3s. I think there's maybe one or two even like Celeron levels, but I think those are all gone by now. But those computers are have a lot of life on them. So they've been not really been through the ringer because they don't get software installed and uninstalled, installed and uninstalled, but some of them possibly were even upgraded from Windows 7 to Windows 10. Some of them were, of course, refurbished computers. Some of them went from my Microsoft Office 2010 to Office 365. So they've had some software transitions and get slower just due to a lot of clutter on them. But I think most of the speed improvement people are saying is just because of the generation of these N100s compared to what they have. Jim's caught up. Pass mark benchmark for N100 is 5500. That should be good enough for email, Word, Excel, web surfing. Yeah, that's pretty much all that the typical Office end user is doing. I have a few clients that like are using Dragon Naturally Speaking. They're going to get a high-end computer, and they already have them. And those people are already on Windows 11. And let's see, so like none of my clients do video editing, but that would be another place for higher end. What else among my clients need higher end computers? Yeah, nothing else comes to mind right now. It seems like there was another reason or two. They're working completely great for remote connections on either side. I have that all-in-one computer and a laptop that are both N100s. Actually, the all-in-one might be an N95. And I've actually used them for connecting to my clients' offices, doing my typical work. They work fine. All right, so we've got 1 hour into the show. There's that computer. Oh, I know where else to go. I haven't seen any questions in chat of issues anybody has. If you have anything like that, this would be a great time to ask. Or if you have any story to tell, this would be a great time to bring that up. Go check and see what emails I have flagged for today. Oh, a Reddit story about somebody being hacked that I thought was interesting. Huh. Well, you know what? I think I'm more interested in going ahead and opening this box. Oops. There, that one. Oh, that fan's still here. Let's see, if I move that camera a little bit, then I don't have to stretch forward so far. Oh, I know something else. I've got some channel comments to go deal with. So there's this one, power button, a USB Type-C, USB. It's not a colored tab, but I can tell from the contacts that it is a 3 dot something. And headphones, that hole there is probably, it might be a reset hole. This one might be microphone or other way around. Then on the back, three USB 3 dot somethings. I can tell that from the contacts on them. And then 2 HDMI and 2 Ethernet ports and a regular AC plug. So this is not going to have a power brick. And there's the power cord, one end for the wall, the other end for connecting to the computer, and a single HDMI cable.
Read chat, please.
I'll get to the chat in just a moment. I like the lower N100 B-Link computers come with 2 video cables, a short HDMI and about a 1.5 foot long HDMI, so which is very convenient for connecting to 2 monitors, which is what most of the Law 40 office has. 2 monitors on a desk mount, and the Visa mounts, I can mount it on the back of the monitor, and comes with the right size cables. This gives me 1 HDMI cable. Maybe looks like maybe 3 foot long. Okay, going to that read chat. N100 is roughly the equivalent of an i5 6th gen. Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you for that. I think I've gone to do a comparison Google search once in a while, but I just haven't retained that or made note of it anywhere because I don't care that much. All I care about is that the users are happy with them. That's plenty power for most end users. Unusual for such a small device. What are you referring to? Are you talking about this Raspberry Pi going on? I don't know what that conversation is about, but he didn't address it directly to me, so probably none of my business. Have you measured and compared power consumption of N100 in any of the existing desktops? No, but that's fairly easy to do because I have a power meter. I just don't know where it is. And so then I can just plug it into a power outlet and plug the device in and see how much power consumption it has, what it's actually using under work. I have done that for Big Beast and Baby Beast. Do I remember what those numbers are? I think I've seen under load when I'm playing a game, Big Beast up above 400 watts. And when idling, down in the neighborhood of 200, I want to say. But I probably shouldn't be saying that off the top of my head, because nobody trusts the top of my head, especially me. If I've skipped anybody's comments, it wasn't intentional. I'm not actually reading them all out loud. Oh, Rand Israel was referring to that it doesn't have an external power brick. Yeah, I have noticed that with the second tier B-Link computers. As a matter of fact, to do some testing, I bought this one. Actually, no, this wasn't. Okay, I went to order a B-Link computer. I wanted to get an i5. Yeah, this is i5, says right there. For the Law 40 office, and the managing partner, that's buying the Law 40 from the senior partners, I discussed with him having him use one of the N100s and then switch to the i5 and see if he can tell the difference, so that he can decide whether he wants to go with the i5s for the majority of office or some of the users and the N100s. And when I went to order the B-Link i5, I found that it had this direct power, meaning the power supply is inside the computer without a power brick. And I didn't want to do that. So I went for the GMK Tech i5 because it uses a power brick. The reason why I feel at this point in the evolution that I like the power bricks is because if the power supply goes bad, you can buy a replacement power brick. If the internal power supply goes bad, you buy a new computer. So when this one came up for sale, the one that I just unboxed, I bought it for myself with my own money for testing purposes. And what I intend to do is configure it with my basic configuration, which I already have. I can just restore it to that. So I have an N100 here, that's mine, and I have this i5 B-Link that's mine, and I intend to put up a certain, determine a certain sequence of activities with a certain number of browser tabs open, certain browser tabs, applications open, a Microsoft Word document with like over 100 pages, a few other things that would seem to be kind of taxing, and then switch between those screens, do the same task in each of those screens, record them locally using the Windows screen recorder. What was that? Windows, I don't remember. The snipping tool, is that what it's called in Windows 11? The one that does the video recording. So I have the video recording going, and I'll have hardware info recording the a log of all the stats of how the computer's performing. So then I can run the video and the hardware log of the two different computers doing exactly the same procedures and be able to see the performance difference. There should be a measurable performance difference. I just don't think it's going to be enough to matter to anybody. Oh, that's interesting. Here's what's interesting. The size difference between these two. The bigger one is an i3. This one is an i5. The smaller one is an i5. Yeah, because that matters. Kilowatt. You just making fun of the word? Or did I say something wrong? Looks like power savings should quickly pay for the upgrade based on the CPU spec alone. Yeah, the power that this thing eats is pretty high. When it's idling, I think it's around 200. A little bit under 200 if I'm remembering right. And when I turn it off, typically at night, I can see a difference in power. Let me see if I can bring this report up from PG&E. They send me a weekly statement about my power consumption. And you can see how much lower it is at night when I have that computer off. Here. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see, I'm checking this over to make sure there's nothing private being revealed. So here's weekly home energy report. This week I used 112 kilowatts. Prior week 102 kilowatts. Come down to here, it shows me that Wednesday was the highest day, and then on that Wednesday my highest use was during this period, which since that was these reports come to me like a week and a half after their date range, or a week after. So I don't remember what I was doing during that time. It'd be nice to have Windows recall, be able to tell me what I was doing then. Now it could have been that was kitchen power. I don't know. But there's 12 a.m. and 12 a.m. So here's what you see at nighttime, much lower than during the day. External power bricks easier to replace. Last month I was billed 170 for 546 kilowatts. Might pay me to investigate lower power solution. I have to wonder how many parents realize how much they pay for the kids to play computer games. Size doesn't matter. Oh, that's when I was comparing the size of the computers. Or when I guess I actually said that. It doesn't matter. Here power is about 0.09 kilowatt hours. They do they compare to my neighbors? They don't compare to my neighbors. They compare to energy efficient homes. Did that report have that part? Now, I think if I go into this button here, it gets me to more information. So I'm going to click on that. And that takes me to a screen to sign in. Pretty sure I've already created an account. So that took me to here, and then you can see my RoboForm icon there. I'm not going to move my mouse over to that while it's on screen because that'll show up possibly more stuff. No, it's okay. Sometimes when I float over that, it shows a lot of other, like even client names, but I don't have PG&E accounts for my clients. The username I did for that was DougBetts Pilot. Yeah, okay, so it's just has the stars for my password. So far, I've been showing you everything. I just haven't shown you when I click on it because I don't know what's going to come up next. So here's what came up next. Before I go scrolling around, I'm going to take it off screen. I'll accept all the cookies because I like cookies, but especially chocolate chip. It's my favorite. It's a good thing I did that because then it exposes my phone number. So it gives me a screen here, action required, updated security requirements. A new online account is in the works. It requires both a phone number and email address to sign in. I've already done that. Confirm your information below is correct. So it's showing my customer name, it's showing my phone number, it's showing my email address. I'm clicking a confirm button. And then I can show this. It gives me a close button. Off screen. Checking to be sure nothing's exposed here. So bill charges $245.09 for due the 9th of December. That would have been for the period ending what? I don't know. I think it was probably before I was using as much heat as I'm using now. Why am I dealing with
PG&E on a computer show. I don't know. Oh, I thought it was going to take me to the more information where it's comparing against energy efficient homes. I'm not seeing that. I know they give that to me somewhere, but it wasn't there. And it also goes to a place where I can see more detail about each of those days, because it only showed me the detail for that Wednesday and not the other dates. It's there somewhere. It's not specifically comparing to my neighbors, but it's comparing to energy efficient homes, whatever that means. And I'm typically, it would show non-energy efficient homes, me, and then energy efficient homes. And I was kind of halfway between the other two. How well you conserve power compared to you, how well your neighbors conserve power. Yeah, so I answered that. Are you running a heat pump? No, my heat is gas and electrical for the fans, but it's pretty sure it's gas. Yeah, so I wouldn't be, my electricity isn't going to go up when I'm using heat the way electricity goes up when I'm using air conditioning. All right. Oh, channel comments. Got some stuff to deal with in channel comments. Mike Novelli, we've had conversations through comments with him. Excuse me, he first appeared with the comments on how I'm saving money with upgrades to Windows 11 by using this sub $200 computer. So he's got 3 comments in here. At 9:04 in this video, so you have never come across a server running Linux in a business environment? No, I have not. If you're running all these mini computers, aren't they connecting back to a server? Yes, when we have a server, it is a Windows server, not a Linux server. All my work with clients in the Fresno area since, where did I wind up tracing back? I look back at my tax returns to see how long have I been doing this kind of work, and I started earning a living through my computer skills. I think I traced it back to 1986, 87, but that wasn't as a consultant. And I worked for a company for a few years and my own business since 1992. Never come across a Linux computer, even an end user's computer, let alone a server. Haven't sought them out either, so they may be out there. My awareness is Linux is used a lot for web servers, but I've not come across them among any of my clients, so I've never put any effort into learning Linux. I have installed Linux on a virtual computer here on my computer. I just didn't have much motivation to do any tinkering with it. And I know it's Linux computers, particularly laptops, will be particularly useful if I'm trying to do penetration testing or learn hacking, particularly useful for that. But for office productivity software, there's just no reason to do that unless you're trying to pinch pennies and then you're on, I don't know, or just objecting to Microsoft. But when you get an end user into the office and you say, well, this is a Linux computer, well, somebody's got to be managing that. And then if you're going to go to Linux, what perversion of Linux are you going to use? Distribution, distro, like the cool kids would say. It just doesn't solve any problems for me. Mike Novelli at 1442 in that video, I would not be trying to make a profit on them. I would just give them to people who don't have access to systems already. I make enough money in my career to not need to see everything as a profit-making opportunity. Thanks for your replies. This is when I was replying to his comment about let him have the computers. And he would repurpose them and give them away. And I responded to that a bit. And let's see, down here. But honestly, if you're going to do it for $115 an hour, I might be willing to buy some of those systems depending on what you have. If you're trying to do it by the hour, I figure it should take you about 5 to 10 minutes to acquire and print some shipping labels, and then 50 minutes to pack 12 to 15 of those computers into boxes. $115 seems like a reasonable price. Where can we see the thing? Oops. The listing of the thing. Why is that doing that? The list of the things you're willing to part with and ship. I'm in Chicagoland, so I can't drive to you anytime soon. So you think it would cost $115 for me to pack and ship 12 to 15 computers into boxes, including, now, part of that is acquiring the boxes. These are all going to have to be shipped separately. So there's separate shipping labels. Got to weigh the boxes. If I'm going to pay the shipping so that FedEx or UPS, whoever it is that'll come out and pick them up from me, can pick them up. Jim, and I knew Jim was going to have a great reaction. I was even thinking of asking
Read chat,
Jim.
please.
I was thinking of asking Jim to come in on Zoom so I could get his reaction on air. I want what this guy is smoking. Yeah, it's obvious he's not experienced with doing a project like this. No, you can't do all that in 1 hour. And you haven't even addressed paying for the shipping. Each of these computers, and where did he say he's at? He's in Chicagoland. So shipping, like, what would be maybe 20 pounds, 30 pounds per computer? I'm not sure. Let's see. Can I get a quick shipping estimate? How much to ship 20 pounds from Fresno to Chicago? I think, well, also you got to take into account the size that 20 pounds is. $20 and $30 UPS rights per package. And then this is not the kind of thing that I do. Now, I think what I said in that video was I'd be willing for somebody to come and pick them up from me. That'd be fine. But no, I am not going to ship. I'm not going to do shipping. That also means I have to deal with those boxes in my home and keep those computers in my home till ready to ship them. And you want me to inventory what they are after I've already removed the hard drives from them. No, this isn't going to happen. Let's just drop it right here. And aside from that, Mike, now I don't mean to be tearing you down here, but I think you haven't thought this through very well. I want to keep a friendly relationship with you, but Mike, if you're interested in doing this, you should check with some computer service companies in your area. I'm sure you could go pick them up for free from them and not deal with any of this shipping obsolete computers across the country so that somebody could repurpose them for Linux and give them away. No, that's not a good pursuit for anybody. I appreciate your interest, but if you're interested in doing that, you should contact some local computer companies, because there's going to be lots of these computers available. My dear friends, I'm Mr. Roke, your host. I don't know if I can impersonate him. Welcome to Fantasy Island. Jim, I just knew if I had you in on Zoom, I would get some good laughs from you. I said it once and I'll say it again. Until Linux gets a major sugar daddy of Microsoft size, maybe Google with an official PC version of Android, Linux won't make any progress for the masses. Now, another point that I don't think I've made in any of this conversation with Mike or on that video about how I'm saving money is the value, the significant value of having consistent computers in these offices. Because right now, a lot of my clients have somewhat of a hodgepodge mix of computers, and that is just not very efficient for me in supporting them. So having all of these, like the Law 40 office, all transitioned to these mini computers, I am so in love with that idea. I am so happy about not having to crawl under people's desks with all the crud and dirt and dust and spider webs and work with those wires under the desk. I'm much happier dealing with the wires on top of the desk. I do not want to keep those old computers in service in my clients' offices, but not, yeah, the shipping's, no, that's a non-starter. The only way these computers get picked up by anybody is for somebody to come to my house and pick them up. Absent that, it's easier for me to deliver them to e-waste recyclers, and they are actually making use of those components. The computers don't go to landfills. So all the people who are upset about landfills, no, that's not happening. As I haven't researched it very deeply, but I've got 2 companies here locally that are in business for recycling any electronic devices. One of them actually breaks them down into their raw elements here in Fresno. The other one ships them somewhere. They might be shipping them to the other company here in Fresno, for all I know. I don't know. I don't need to know those details. $40 per computer. Yeah, because of the size of the boxes, I don't think that number that I saw in my Google search is really accurate because we haven't dealt with the size of them. Yeah, that said $20, but you can put a 20-pound package in a much smaller box than it would take for these computers. Lawn Dog, last time I shipped a desktop computer, it was $30 to $40. Sufficient bubble wrap. Yeah, the packing materials, got to do that too. Now, these companies that we're buying from that will ship a large computer for free, they're in the business of shipping. They get some shipping deals at Amazon. They're getting lower price for shipping than what you and I would get. And whatever shipping is in costs are involved, they're wrapping that into the price of the stuff that they're shipping. They have to be. They can't stay in business without doing it. But I think Amazon shipping muscle power makes it
Read chat, please.
a lot less costly. I'm glad the e-waste took my 1987 Sony 27-inch tube TV. Yeah. Now, one of these e-waste companies locally has actually come out to my home and picked up the stuff. When I had a large amount of stuff, I told them, I think I had 25 computers that I had held on to here when they got replaced over a period of 2 or 3 years, maybe more. And they came out and picked those up and lots of other e-waste stuff. So that was convenient. That was really nice. And I know I can get them to come out again if I have a significant amount of stuff. So that just means I have to store it here, which I do have space. I can do that. And it's probably more convenient to me than taking them to e-waste at 4 to 6 computers at a time. Costco builds in the shipping price on their own website. The items, if stocked in the store, are cheaper. It's your loss. It's above my pay grade. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I was talking about at that time. Yeah, I am just so in love with these mini PCs. And my clients are very happy about it too. Now, something else I'm doing with these, I mentioned about buying these computers with my own money. Well, when I buy the computers for my clients, I'm typically buying them using my Amazon account, but their credit card. And that is their choice. I may give them that choice. If I use your credit card, then I don't have to do a markup on it. If we're using my money, then I have to do a markup on it. And that does not mean that I personally warranty the computers. I do not personally warranty computers. I'm buying from reasonably established companies online where I am carefully selecting the computers, but I'm not responsible if they have a warranty issue. My client's going to be paying my time to deal with the warranty return process. If I'm not making money on the sale, then it doesn't make sense that I have to warranty it. If we use my credit card and I do a markup to compensate me for that, that does not mean I'm obligated to process warranty for free. I am a service business. I provide the service to my clients of basically break fix. I'm a break fix company. I'm not a managed service provider. I provide services and get paid for my time. Selling hardware is an accommodation. It's a convenience to my clients. That does not make me liable to do free work for dealing with warranty returns. I know that's different than what some other service providers are telling about their business online. That's fine. They do them, I do me. I don't work for free. I remember 36-inch Sony TVs with picture tube, of course. I used to work in a TV store, 36-inch Sony picture. When I take a cathode ray tube monitor to a e-waste recycler, they charge me for those. I think it's like $5. Sometimes if I bring 3 of them, they'll say, oh, just $5, covers the 3 of them. Because there's something about those that they charge for. I think it might be an e-waste fee. I don't know. Some engineering firms that charge a 60% markup, but you tell them what to buy, so it's your responsibility for the purchase. That doesn't mean that I have to cover it if it doesn't go well. Just like a doctor can advise a patient on a treatment or a option of treatments. If it doesn't go well, typically the doctor does not eat his charges. Similarly with a lawyer, they might advise a client on choices of how to go. Maybe the client makes the decision. Maybe the attorney is advising this is the way to go. But for attorneys that bill by the hour, they don't eat their fees, as far as I know, if it doesn't work out well. You can use your professional knowledge and experience to make choices and advise on the choice to make. That doesn't mean you have to eat it if it doesn't go well. There's some people that think it does. No, it does not. Got charged for turning in printers. You can sue the doctor. Well, sure, a client can sue me, and I have been sued by an attorney. I won. All right, get this, understand this. I was sued by an active practicing attorney who has an office, who routinely goes in front of judges. He sued me. The judge decided in my favor. And just because you can sue someone doesn't mean you're going to win. You should only pay the attorney if he gets you off. That is not always correct. Attorneys will it depends upon the arrangements for the attorney. If attorney works on contingency, then you only pay if they get the results. That is not always the case, that you can choose to not pay them. There's, I haven't been down this road with an attorney, but I'm sure there's contracts involved when you're hiring an attorney and legal obligations. That's not an area that I have expertise. I don't think you can just choose to not pay the attorney. There's going to be consequences to that. You might already have money on account because there's retainer fees to be paid. So retainer fees, you put money on account with them and they don't work if you don't have enough money. And I have been through this with a family law issue where we had to have money on the account. If we didn't have money there, they didn't do work. So the money had to be there first. Judge Judy, there you go. A couple other judges that broadcast their courtrooms that I think cost the participants less money. I don't know. Why are we talking about attorneys? Come on, give me some computer stuff to talk about. It was not the same situation as I remember. You are being sued for work you did or did not do. It's not the same situation as what? I'm not sure we're getting into here. Oh, for advising. If I get to a point with a client where there's a lawsuit involved, they're no longer my client. We're done. If they're going to sue me because of a $200 computer that needed warranty coverage and I didn't do that for free, then my value to them is already just not there. That would never happen with any of my clients. Now, the place where a lawsuit could happen between
Read chat, please.
Between my existing clients and me would be a like if they have a cybersecurity event where they suffer loss. It's my belief, and this is borne out by that lawsuit that I won, that I am a fee for services rendered, the computer support. I am not a managed service provider. There is no contract between me and my clients. My invoices, because I detail what I'm charging for these specific services. There is no verbiage anywhere that says I protect you against cybersecurity events. Now, I might update if I were to update an antivirus software, which never happens because we use Windows Defender, that would be paid for that service. There is not an amount of money that they pay per month that with a contract that says I provide security services. No, that would be a problem. I will not go down that road. Oftentimes, depending upon the reason for hiring an attorney, their job is to protect your rights. It was not the same situation as remember you being sued for work you did. No, actually, I wasn't being sued for work I did. I was being sued for work that the client thought I was obligated to do. Specifically, what happened is the audacity of this attorney. He had his hard drives had gone bad. He was not my client. When I first got a call from him, I had never heard from him before. Did not know him from Adam or Jane or Paul or Bill. He called me because his hard drives crashed and he needed the content from his hard drives because he didn't have any backups, 0 backups. I picked up his drives. I did data recovery here. It wasn't here, it was my previous home. And with recovery utilities, and I successfully recovered his data. It was not easy. The recovery utilities ran for multiple days before I got some results that I could look at. And then it did wind up that this was a substantial recovery of data. So I took the data to him, copied it to the workstation computer that was functioning for him, or that he got a replacement. I don't quite remember what that was. And he ordered a replacement computer for the one that had gone bad. And so he was up and running. I had not yet sent him a bill. Then I got a phone call from him while I was driving down the road. After leaving a particular client's office, I remember the exact patch of road that I was on the freeway when the call came in. He says, I have the computers here. I need you to come over now and install them. I said, well, I can't come over now. I have another obligation. I think I can come over tomorrow. And he got all pissed off on the phone, just ranting and raving. No, that was our agreement. You have to install this. There was never any agreement to come immediately this moment he called me. So yeah, I'm convinced at this point that this was his plan all along, was to find some excuse to not pay me for what I had already done. I had rescued his non-backed up data from a defective drive successfully. I had not yet sent him a bill. And he got all pissed off because I wouldn't cancel whatever I was going to right then and drive to his office. And he said in that phone call, good luck collecting on the work, on the bill for what the work you've already done. So I sent him the bill. I didn't make any collection attempts whatsoever. And then I get a notice that I'm being sued by him. So he hasn't paid the bill. He sues me, small claims court, I don't know, a couple $1,000s. And we go to court and I win. Now he has to pay me. He could have just not paid me. I never would have pursued it. I never would have taken him to court because it's not worth the stress. So he sued me. Call him stupid. And he did pay me the check. About the lawsuit, this was a story from like last year. This was several years ago. That could have been 10 years ago. I don't know. The limited few lawyers. I did come to hear from somebody else, another attorney, that he is known in the industry as a shyster. Limited few lawyers, and thankfully extremely limited, that I had to deal with. Only one was a guy like this, and I spotted it immediately. I was suspicious of him right off the bat. I was suspicious of him because he had a certain behavior that is a red flag to me. He had this behavior that when I came into his office and on the phone, he was just lavishing praise on me about how smart of a person I must be to be able to be in this business, and just on and on. It was just like, oh my gosh. This is a total red flag when somebody is just over the top complimentary. That is not normal behavior. They like to do a lot of, I'm a lawyer, and do a lot of intimidation. Now that was intimidation on the phone, yeah, but not when I first started working with him. They know that a guy like me couldn't defend myself. That's why I don't like dealing with lawyer types. But I think because I wound up learning that he had a reputation of a shyster, that he planned to screw me from the get-go, which is amazing after I saved his bacon. My new M4, oh, look at this. What my new M4 MacBook. I'm asking for come up with some computer topic for me to talk about, and you come up with a MacBook. My new M4 MacBook did not connect to my 4K monitor using DisplayPort. I had to purchase a new display cable. DisplayPort cables, there can be some specifics there, I think. I think you can. I think not all DisplayPort cables are made the same. I'm not certain about that. Jim also saying Mac. No, not going. No, not to go there either. Now we're approaching the 1 o'clock. I do have a redirect set up for Carrie Holzman's show. Let's go have a look at what Carrie Holzman is doing today. Oh, wait a minute. He's already started. Oh, he started at 12. That's right. So I do have a redirect, but he's already up and running. When a PC upgrade is no longer an upgrade, what happens if you wait too long? There was something he said with Mitch the other day about, the conversation came up. Oh, I know what it was. Somebody had come up, maybe it was a question in chat about Windows 8 upgrade to Windows 10. Windows 8 is no longer supported by Microsoft, so the license key for Windows 8 might not accomplish an upgrade to Windows 10. I think that might be what that title is referring to. I do not know. USB-C to DisplayPort. Yeah, I think some of those cables can be a unidirection. You have to be buying the cable that goes the correct direction. I bought recently a cable to go from HDMI to VGA, and that was a unidirection cable. And that was for a mini computer that I recently put into service at the pest control company. And the monitor was a VGA monitor. So I didn't want to use any adapters. So here it is. I got this cable that goes from HDMI to VGA, and they make it very clear. Unidirectional HDMI source, that's the computer, to VGA display. So this is an instance where you can't reverse that. You can't connect to a computer that has a VGA port and plug into a monitor that has an HDMI port. Not going to work. And it was labeled really well on the cable itself. Oh, do they show it here? No, they don't. The other side of these cables made it really clear which end was to be connected. I'm just looking at the pictures to see if it shows a good view of that, and it does not. There's actually a circuit board, smart chip in there that is involved. You can see that chip. So DisplayPort cables might similarly be specific. John says this cable worked on my old Mac Air. There also could be versions of DisplayPort involved. I don't know that. I haven't looked into that, and there's so many differences these days with versions and types, and anytime that I'm going to go do something, I'm kind of careful these days to go research it. HDMI is digital, VGA is analog. Conversion requires some sort of adapter. That's why it's going to be one way. The only way to upgrade Windows 8 is to Windows 10 or 11 to buy a new PC. Probably true, since Windows 8 I think no longer supported by Microsoft. So any at least free upgrade you wouldn't be able to do. I think you perhaps could upgrade from Windows 8 to Windows 10, but perhaps have to buy a license. I don't know. I don't care. Anybody that's dealing with that should just buy a new mini computer under $200. For most people, that's all they're going to need. Anybody who's trying to take a Windows 8 and keep using that, that's not going to be a high-end computer, right? They're doing web browsing, the email, word processing, maybe. An N100 mini computer, what did I show? $260 is going to do just fine. Ran Israel used to be a free upgrade, not anymore. Yeah, I think that stopped when Windows 8 was no longer supported by Microsoft. And the same thing's going to happen when Windows 10 is no longer supported. Then if you try to upgrade from a Windows 10 to a Windows 11, after support for Windows 10 ends, it might be that that won't be free, that you have to buy a key for it. Jim says they stopped installing Windows 8 on new machines 2015. That's 9 or 10 years ago. New PC time. Yeah, especially these inexpensive computers. My gosh, that makes it just, it's just a no-brainer. All right. Oh, let me catch one more here. I will respond to Mike with a timestamp for when I address that. And we got one other here. Oh, CEG third. I can't quite figure out what he's trying to say. Is that supposed to be an E? Secured? I don't know. What mini under $200 are you setting up for your clients? I'll show you that right here. And I've set up several of them, many of them. They're working really, really well. They're B-Link computer. The reason why I'm doing B-Link computers is that they have a lot of computers in this price range, and they always have the inventory. The other manufacturers, not so much. And it just feels like they're going to be around for a while. So here's B-Links that I've ordered recently. EQI 12, S12, SEI 12, S12, S12. S12s are the ones that, when I say under $200, I'm usually referring to these. And so if I go into, actually this link is broken. So if I go to B-Link S12, let's see, that's sponsored. Here's an S12, $139. Yeah, so that's under 200. That's a lot under 200. Let's see, is this N100? Yes, 8 gigabytes. The ones I've been doing have been 16 gigabytes and 500 gigabyte drive, and they've been up around 160. So, oh, did that have, let's see, that's sponsored, S12, 16 gigabytes, 500 gigabyte, yeah, so 170. So that's what I mean when I say under 200. So that answers your question. I will reply to you with a timestamp later, then thumbs up and heart. And I think that'll do it, everybody. That's the end of the show. I hope you go back, Sedgard, and watch the earlier parts of this show, because I'm just about to end it. Don't waste money on 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabytes, the new standard. I think the 8 gigabytes would do fine for my clients, but I think the price difference there, I'm just doing the 16 gigabytes and the 500 drives. Okay. All right. Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. I will catch you later, and we're going to give you a little bit of Porky Pig here. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.